The quiet of space vanished as bright lights flashed between the ships. Goal cruisers fired at Tyranny defenders. This terrible war had lasted 30 years, taking many lives across 12 star systems. On the main Tyranny ship, Captain Kim read the damage reports with a heavy heart. His people and their friends in the collective were losing another battle. "We cannot hold much longer," Kim said quietly. His second-in-command nodded in agreement. The ship shook as another blast hit their shields. Kim steadied himself against his command chair. "Sir, our rear defenses are failing," called out the weapons officer. Kim was about to order a retreat when every alarm on the bridge began to sound at once. Both Kim and his crew looked up in surprise. "Captain, something strange is happening near the edge of the battle," said Officer Lee. Her voice shook slightly. "Energy readings off the charts. Nothing like we've ever seen before." Kim moved to her station and looked at the screen. A large, swirling blue hole had appeared in space. It pulsed with strange energy. "Is it a weapon?" he asked. Before Lee could answer, something began to emerge from the hole. First came a long, dark bow. Then the rest of a massive ship slid into view. It was bigger than anything Kim had ever seen, at least 3 times the size of the largest Goal warship. The mysterious vessel was dark gray with smooth sides. Many objects that looked like weapons stuck out from its hull. Near the front, strange symbols appeared alongside the words TSS Har BNGR. "What kind of ship is that?" Kim whispered. "And what does TSS mean?" The bridge crews stared at their screens. Even the Goal ships had stopped firing. Inside the human battleship, Commander Park stood on her bridge looking at the scene before her. 2 alien fleets had been fighting when her ship arrived through the wormhole. Now they had stopped, their attention firmly on the Harbinger. "What are we seeing, Lieutenant Choi?" she asked calmly. Her first officer studied the readings. 2 different alien species engaged in battle, Commander. Based on the energy signatures, they'd been fighting for some time. Both fleets have now detected us and have ceased fire. Park nodded. This was humanity's first contact with alien life, and they had appeared right in the middle of a war. The exploration mission had taken an unexpected turn when they discovered the wormhole near Earth's solar system. "Any communications from either side?" she asked. "Not yet, Commander," replied Communications Officer Jin. "But both fleets are scanning us heavily." Park looked at the tactical display. The smaller fleet of sleek, silver ships appeared heavily damaged. The larger fleet of bulky, dark vessels seemed to be the aggressor. "Keep all weapons systems on standby, but do not power up targeting systems," Park ordered. "I don't want to appear threatening, but I won't leave us defenseless either." Outside, both alien fleets cautiously approached the human ship. On the Tyranny flagship, Captain Kim made a decision. "Open a communication channel to the unknown vessel," he ordered. "Sir, the Goal are moving to intercept," warned his tactical officer. "They want to reach the new ship first." Kim frowned. The Goal would try to convince these newcomers to join their side or destroy them if they refused. He couldn't let that happen. "Full speed ahead," Kim ordered. "We must make contact first." The Tyranny ship surged forward, racing to reach the human vessel before their enemies. On the Goal command ship, War Leader Rowe watched with narrow eyes. "That ship appeared from nowhere," he growled. "Its technology could turn the tide of war. We must secure it." "Should we destroy it?" asked his second. "No. First, we will try to take it. If we cannot have it, no one will." The Goal ships changed course, weapons charging as they moved to block the Tyranny approach. Commander Park watched as the situation developed. "It seems we've stumbled into something complicated," she said. "The smaller fleet is trying to reach us, while the larger fleet is moving to stop them." "Your orders, Commander?" asked Lieutenant Choi. Park considered her options carefully. Earth's first contact protocols were clear: observe, understand, and avoid conflict when possible. But they couldn't simply watch if one side decided to attack them. "Open all communication channels," she decided. Let's hear what both sides have to say. As the human battleship prepared to meet its first aliens, the stars seemed to hold their breath. This moment would change the course of 3 civilizations forever. The large conference room on the Harbinger was silent except for the soft hum of life support systems. 3 days had passed since the human battleship arrived in this war-torn region of space. Commander Park sat at the head of a long table, her face calm but her eyes watchful. On her right sat Ambassador Song of the Tyranny. He was nearly 7 feet tall with light blue scales that shimmered when he moved. His 4 eyes blinked in an odd pattern, the top pair, then the bottom pair that Park found fascinating. On her left sat Delegate Bake of the Goal. Unlike the elegant Tyranny, Bake was short and powerfully built. Metal-like ridges ran across his skull, and his gray skin looked tough as armor. His small dark eyes rarely blinked at all. "Thank you both for coming," Park said. "I hope this meeting will help us understand the situation better." Bake made a harsh sound that might have been a laugh. "There is little to understand. The Goal Imperium claims 12 systems by right of strength. It is the natural law of the galaxy that the weak serve the strong." Park noticed Ambassador Song's scales ripple with color. She had learned this was how Tyranny showed emotion. "Commander Park," Song said in a careful voice, "the Goal believe only in conquest. They have destroyed entire colonies. Billions of my people and other collective species have died. They kill without mercy." Bak did not deny it. "Those who resist will perish. Those who submit may live to serve. It is simple." Park kept her face neutral, though she felt a chill at Bak's words. The concept of might makes right has a troubled history among humans. We've found cooperation often yields better results for all parties. "A weakness your species will outgrow," Bak said with a dismissive wave. "Join us, and we will show you the true path to power. The Tyranny and their weak friends offer you nothing." Song leaned forward. "Commander, we offer friendship based on respect, not domination. The collective shares knowledge and resources freely. We—" A loud alarm cut through the room. Park touched the communication device on her wrist. "Park here. Report." Lieutenant Choi's voice came through clearly. "Commander, a Goal battle group has just attacked a Tyranny outpost in Sector 7. They've destroyed the station's life support systems. Thousands of civilians are at risk." Park looked up sharply at Delegate Bake. His face remained still, but she caught the small twitch at the corner of his mouth. Satisfaction. "This meeting is adjourned," Park announced, standing up. "Ambassador Song, please coordinate with our rescue teams if you wish to attempt a recovery operation." She turned to Bake. "Delegate Bake, you will return to your assigned quarters and remain there until further notice." "You cannot detain me," Bake protested. "I am a diplomatic representative of the Goal Imperium." "And you are aboard my ship," Park said, her voice like steel. "Security will escort you." After both aliens had left, Park called her senior staff to the command center. 6 officers gathered around the tactical table, faces serious. "First things first," Park said. "Status of the Tyranny outpost." Officer Jin, head of communications, shook her head. "Not good. 2,000 civilians. Without life support, they have less than 6 hours. The Tyranny are mounting a rescue, but they may not reach them in time." Park nodded grimly. "Keep monitoring." "Now, what have we learned about their technologies in the past 3 days?" Officer Han, chief engineer, brought up holographic displays. "Their faster-than-light drives are quite efficient but limited in range compared to ours. They need to stop and recharge more frequently. Their weapon systems are powerful but consume tremendous energy." "Most interesting," Han continued, "is that neither side has anything comparable to our gravitational shielding. They rely on energy barriers that can be overwhelmed with enough firepower. That explains the high casualty rates in their war," Lieutenant Choi observed. Park was quiet for a moment. "And what about Earth Command's directives regarding first contact situations like this?" Choi brought up another display. Standard protocol is non-interference in alien conflicts. We observe, learn, and avoid taking sides. He paused. However, subsection 12b permits intervention in cases of genocidal aggression, especially against civilian populations, which we've now witnessed firsthand, Park said quietly. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. Earth had sent them to explore, not to fight a war. But they couldn't simply watch as billions died. "If I may, Commander," said Security Chief Du, "the goal remind me of historical Earth empires that expanded through conquest alone. They don't stop until forced to stop." Park looked at the tactical display showing the dying Tyranny outpost. Somewhere in that station, families were holding each other as their air slowly ran out. "Prepare a rescue operation," she decided. "We're going to save those civilians. And send a message to the Goal Command. Any further attacks on civilian targets will be considered acts of aggression against humanity as well." As her officers moved to carry out her orders, Park knew she had just taken the first step away from neutrality. There would be no going back. The bright lights in the diplomatic section of the Harbinger suddenly went dark. A moment later, a loud boom shook the walls. Alarms blared as smoke filled the hallway. Crew members shouted and ran for safety. Through the thick gray smoke, a figure moved with purpose. A Gaul warrior, larger than the delegate they had met earlier, pushed forward. In his hand was a weapon that glowed with deadly energy. His target was clear: Ambassador Song of the Tyranny, who had been thrown to the floor by the blast. The Gaul assassin raised his weapon and aimed at the fallen ambassador. His finger tightened on the trigger. Security Officer Yoon had been stationed at the far end of the hallway. When the explosion happened, she was knocked against the wall but recovered quickly. Through the smoke, she saw the assassin approaching the ambassador. Without hesitation, Yoon pulled her stun weapon and fired. A blue pulse shot across the hallway and hit the Gaul squarely in the chest. The assassin's body went rigid, then collapsed to the floor, the weapon falling from his hand. Yoon rushed to Ambassador Song's side. The Tyranny's scales had turned a pale blue, a sign of shock or fear, the humans had learned. "Are you injured, Ambassador?" Yoon asked, helping the tall alien to his feet. Song's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he checked himself for wounds. "I am unharmed, thanks to your quick action," he replied. His scales slowly returned to their normal bright color, pulsing in a pattern that humans now recognized as relief. Within minutes, the diplomatic section was secured. The Gaul assassin was taken to the brig, and Commander Park ordered all remaining Gaul personnel confined to their quarters under heavy guard. "This was a planned attack," Park said to her security team. "Check all their quarters for weapons or communication devices we missed earlier." Later that day, Park visited the engineering bay where something remarkable was happening. Human engineers were working alongside Tyranny technicians to repair their damaged cruiser. The ship had been badly hit in a recent battle and had taken refuge near the Harbinger. Engineer Ba was showing a Tyranny engineer named Kang how to modify their propulsion system. Ba had taken apart the alien engine and reassembled it in a new configuration. "Your approach is unusual," Kang admitted as he watched Ba work. The Tyranny's eye stalks were extended in what humans had learned was intense interest. "We would never have considered using the radiation buffer as an amplifier." Ba shrugged as she connected the final wires. "Sometimes you have to think outside standard parameters. This should give you 20% more power with the same fuel consumption." She activated the system, and the engine hummed to life with a deeper, stronger sound than before. Kang's scales flashed with bright colors of amazement. "In 300 years of Tyranny engineering, no one thought of this simple solution," he said. Across the ship on the command bridge, Commander Park was receiving troubling news. Intelligence Officer June stood before her, his face grim as he presented his findings. "We've analyzed all the data from both Tyranny and Gaul sources," June explained. "The evidence is conclusive. The Gaul have systematically eliminated civilian populations on at least 7 worlds." He showed Park the images, cities reduced to ash, recordings of mass executions, testimony from survivors. Their policy is extinction of any species that resists incorporation into their empire, Jum continued. They've wiped out 3 species completely. The Tyranny and their allies are fighting for survival, not just independence. Park's expression hardened as she viewed the evidence. Then we have seen enough. She was about to give new orders when Officer Jin called out from her station. Commander, 6 coal warships have just entered the system. They're heading directly for us at attack speed. The bridge crew turned to their stations, preparing for the worst. They're hailing us, Jin reported. On screen, Park ordered. The main display showed the face of a Ghoul commander. His skull ridges were more pronounced than Delegate Beck's, marked with scars that appeared to be badges of honor. Human vessel, the Ghoul commander growled. Return our delegation immediately. Then surrender your ship and technology to the Ghoul Imperium. Comply now or be destroyed. The bridge fell silent as all eyes turned to Commander Park. She stood tall, her decision already made. This is Commander Park of the TS of Harbinger, she replied calmly. Your delegate attempted to assassinate a guest aboard my ship. Your forces have committed genocide across multiple worlds. She paused. Humanity will not stand by while innocent lives are threatened. You will stand down your weapons and withdraw from this system immediately. The Ghoul commander's face twisted in rage. You have made your choice, human. Prepare to be boarded. Park turned to her crew. Battle stations. Prepare to show the Ghoul what happens when they threaten a human vessel. As the crew rushed to their positions, Park knew that the Harbinger was about to change the course of this war forever. The 6 Ghoul warships spread out in a wide formation as they approached the Harbinger. Their dark hulls gleamed in the light of the nearby sun. Gun ports opened along their sides, weapons charging with a red glow. On the bridge of the Harbinger, Commander Park stood calmly. Around her, the crew worked at their stations with quiet focus. Weapons status, Park asked, her voice steady. Weapons Officer Nam looked up from his console. All systems online, Commander. Targeting solutions ready. Defensive screens at maximum, added Lieutenant Choi from his station. Power levels optimal. Park nodded. Hold position. Let them make the first move. The bridge was quiet except for the soft beeping of the computers. Through the main view screen, they watched as the Ghoul ships moved closer. Suddenly, the lead Ghoul vessel fired. Bright red beams shot across space toward the Harbinger. These same weapons had torn through Tyranny ships in previous battles. The energy beams hit the Harbinger's shields and dispersed like water hitting a wall. The ship didn't even shake. Shield holding at 100%, reported Choi, surprise in his voice. No damage. On the Ghoul command ship, War Leader Rose stared in disbelief. Impossible. Fire all weapons. The Ghoul ships unleashed everything they had. The space between the ships lit up with weapons fire. They're targeting the Tyranny vessels as well, Nam called out. 3 damaged Tyranny ships have been sheltering near the Harbinger since the rescue mission. Park's eyes narrowed. Intercept those shots and prepare to demonstrate our capabilities. The Harbinger's point defense system activated. Small, precise beams shot out, meeting the Ghoul weapons fire in space and neutralizing it mid-flight. Target their lead ship's main weapons array, Park ordered. 1 shot only. Nam worked his controls. Target locked. Fire. A single blue pulse left the Harbinger. It hit the Ghoul flagship with surgical precision. The weapons array on the alien ship went dark immediately. The bridge crew watched in silence. They had just disabled the most powerful Ghoul ship with 1 shot. Park leaned forward and activated the communication system. All Ghoul vessels, this is Commander Park of the TS at Harbinger. Your unprovoked attack constitutes an act of war against humanity. Cease fire immediately. For a moment, the Ghoul ships hesitated. Then, as if in defiance, they fired again. A full barrage aimed directly at the Harbinger. Park nodded to Nam. Execute pattern Omega. The massive human battleship suddenly moved with impossible speed. Thrusters fired in complex sequences as the Harbinger weaved between the enemy shots. At the same time, its weapons fired in precise patterns, targeting specific systems on each goal ship. On the first ship, engines went dark. On the second, weapon systems sparked and failed. On the third, communication arrays exploded. The goal had never seen a ship so large move so quickly or fire so accurately. Their rigid battle formations broke apart in confusion. How is this possible? War Leader Rowe shouted as his bridge lights flickered. Their technology cannot be this advanced. Inside the Harbinger, the crew watched their success with quiet pride. 3 coal ships disabled, reported Nam. The others are powering up their jump drives. Let them go, Park said. They'll carry the message back to their leaders. The remaining goal ships turned and fled, leaving behind 3 crippled vessels drifting in space. Lieutenant Choi approached Park. Commander, should we destroy the disabled ships? Park shook her head. No. We've made our point without taking lives. Scan them for survivors and prepare rescue teams. The crews may resist, Choi warned. Then they'll learn another lesson about humanity, Park replied. We fight when necessary, but we don't abandon those in need, even enemies. As the rescue operations began, Park moved to the communications station. Officer Shin, prepare a message to Earth Command. Priority 1. Shin's fingers moved over his console. Ready, Commander. Park took a deep breath. What she was about to do would change everything. Earth had sent them to explore, not to fight a war. But after seeing the goal's brutality firsthand, she knew she couldn't stand by. Earth Command, this is Commander Park of the TS Harbinger. We've encountered a genocidal regime known as the Goal Imperium that has destroyed billions of lives across multiple star systems. Under Protocol 17, I am formally requesting additional forces to intervene in this conflict. The technology and knowledge of multiple peaceful species are at risk of extinction. Full data package attached. She paused. The Harbinger will hold position until reinforcements arrive. Park out. As Shin transmitted the message through the wormhole back to Earth, Park looked at the stars on the view screen. Somewhere out there, other human ships would receive her call. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity would not stand by while innocents suffered. And now, Park said quietly, we wait. 3 months had passed since the Harbinger's stand against the goal. The ship had remained in this strange part of space, helping the Terrani rebuild and waiting for Earth's response. Today that response arrived. In the command room of the Goal Fortress, Supreme Commander Ho stared at the screen in front of him. His normally steady hands shook slightly. It cannot be, he whispered. The scanner showed a massive energy surge at the cosmic gateway the humans called the Veil. Then, one by one, ships began to emerge. Not 1 or 2, but 27 Earth vessels in total. They were various sizes and shapes, but each bore the same markings as the Harbinger. Ho had gambled that the humans were alone, just one ship that had accidentally found its way to this region. He had planned one final massive attack on the Terrani homeworld to end the war before more humans could arrive. Now his plan was falling apart. Launch the attack now, Ho shouted to his officers, before they can organize. The Goal Armada, 300 ships strong, moved toward the Terrani homeworld. It was their largest force ever assembled, meant to crush all resistance once and for all. But as they approached, they found not just the Terrani defensive fleet waiting for them. The human ships had somehow reached the planet first, forming a protective ring around it alongside the collective forces. On the bridge of the Harbinger, Commander Park stood calmly, looking at the tactical display showing both fleets. The Goal are forming attack groups, reported Lieutenant Choi. They still outnumber us. Park nodded. Numbers aren't everything. Signal the fleet to move into Formation Delta. The Earth ships began to move in ways that confused the Goal tacticians. Instead of forming a line or a wall, they spread out in a complex pattern that seemed to have no purpose. Their formation is like nothing I've ever seen, muttered Goal Tactician Do as he watched the screens. What are they doing? He got his answer moments later. As the Goal ships advanced, the human vessels suddenly shifted, creating lanes of fire that caught the attackers from multiple angles. Focus fire on their command vessels, Park ordered over the fleet channel. The Goal hierarchy cannot function without direct control. The Earth ships fired with incredible precision, targeting the larger ships that housed the Goal commanders. Within the first hour, 5 command ships had been disabled. The battle that was supposed to end the war in the Goal's favor instead became their greatest defeat. It lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, the Goal command structure had been systematically dismantled, their remaining forces scattered and in disarray. 2 weeks later, representatives from all species gathered on a new space station. Humans had helped build this neutral meeting place in orbit around an uninhabited planet. The station's main hall was filled with beings from 12 different species. At the center table sat Commander Park, several other human officers, leaders of the 7 collective species, and a Goal representative. This Goal was different from the war leaders they had faced before. Reformist leader Moon had risen from the lower ranks after the defeat. He believed in change and survival rather than conquest. I signed this treaty on behalf of the Goal people, Moon said as he pressed his hand to the document. We accept the new boundaries and the terms of peace. The Treaty of Harbinger was now official. The war that had raged for 30 years was over. Commander Park stood to address the gathered beings. The room fell silent. We did not come here seeking war, she said, her voice clear and strong. Humans crossed the veil in search of knowledge and new friends among the stars. But neither will humanity stand by while genocide is committed. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each species' representatives. The galaxy is vast enough for all our peoples if we choose cooperation over conquest. With this treaty, we take the first step toward a new order based on respect rather than fear. Later, as the ceremony ended, Park stood alone on the observation deck of the station. Through the large window, she could see the stars and distant planets shining in the darkness. Footsteps approached, and Officer Choi joined her at the window. I have news from Earth Command, he said. They have approved the formation of the Interstellar Council. Representatives from all species will work together to maintain peace. He handed her a message pad. They want you to serve as humanity's first representative, Commander. Park took the pad and read the official message. Then she looked back at the stars with a small smile. Not what we expected when we first crossed the veil, is it? No, Choi agreed, following her gaze to the distant lights of alien worlds. But perhaps it's what the galaxy needed. Outside the window, a Tyranny ship and a human vessel passed each other, exchanging light signals in greeting. Further away, a small Goal transport was being escorted to the trading post by ships from the collective. In the darkness of space, the lights of alien worlds twinkled like beacons, no longer in chaos but in the first fragile moments of peace. The end.